I am on day 2 of my returning to workout with actually using probably more specific workout equipment. Today I'm going to be working more with the TRX. So I'm going to walk you through what I'm looking for, modifications I would make, and how I'd coach a client for this. A couple things I want to point out. I am in a t-shirt today, yay. I am wearing a bra, yay. It's a nursing bra, so take that with a grain of salt. But I just got done podcasting. And so what I'm trying to say is when I'm talking about like the clothes I'm wearing while I'm working out is it doesn't matter what you wear. You don't have to specifically get in workout gear in order to make it a workout. You don't have to have a gym in your garage. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to have equipment in order to get this done. There are certain things that you can purchase that I would recommend that are pretty low entry. So resistance bands, and you can even get a TRX for your home. You can get adjustable dumbbells. You could have no equipment, and you can still get a workout in. The workouts I'm doing right now, I'm doing 3 phases. They are about 3 weeks each. So I will do a video day 1 yesterday, today's day 2, and then I'll video day 3. And I'm cycling through those for the next 3 weeks, and then I'll change it and bring you into those again when I go into the next phase. One thing, I was texting back and forth with my pelvic PT yesterday, and I told her I had returned to working out. She asked what I did, and I told her I did the split squats and the deadlifts, and she actually recommended I don't do split squats yet, just to give my pelvis a bit more time of healing, because you have to think it expanded to let baby come through. And then with the hormones that come through with your pregnancy, it makes the pelvis a little bit more relaxed and just loosey-goosey per se, which is not a very clinical term. So she recommended that I don't do split stance stuff yet. I typically wouldn't have a client doing split stance stuff as quickly as I am, depending on where they're at. But for me, I felt like it felt okay. But actually, I'm going to go off her recommendation, and I see her this coming Friday. So we're going to chat a little bit more about where my body's at and how I feel. So today, like I said, we're going to go into the TRX, and I'm going to walk you through things that I'm adjusting for myself. And then I'll talk about whatever comes to mind. Last time it was about my body because I was in my sports bra. Today, it might just be working through the video. I'm not really sure. So we'll see as I start filming. Let's take you through it. So again, same thing, 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps for these 2 exercises. So we're going to do a push-up with the TRX, and then we're going to do some rows with the TRX. The thing about the TRX that I like is you can use this at home, at the park, or really anywhere. It's a good travel piece of equipment. I have it attached to my rack here, but some of them have like a door stopper that you can put over the door, or you could loop this around like a tree branch, or even at the park, you can loop it around like the swing set. You're going to want to adjust the straps here and get them out of the way, but it depends on which angle you're going at. So the higher up the straps, the easier it'll be. The lower the straps, the harder it'll be. So with the push up, I'm going to bring these down a little bit, and you want to make sure that they're even as well. And this one's a little bit stuck. There we go. So even push up, what I'm going to do is come forward. And so if I'm up here, it's going to be a lot easier as opposed to if my feet are further back. I've just got a lot more weight on that frontal plane. So one thing to watch out for is when we're doing like a front-loaded item or a front-loaded movement postpartum, is we want to watch belly and make sure that we're not coning or doming, because it is a lot of pressure going down on there. So what we're going to do here is, yes, I could do a push-up like down on the ground essentially. This is going to make push-ups harder as opposed to if I'm just on the floor because of the instability aspect. But what we're going to do is come out, and I'm just going to try and find a position that's challenging. So to me, I'm like, okay, this is okay, but I feel like I could easily do 10. Maybe I either come back or I need to loosen these straps. These a little bit. Oop. Okay, that's probably a lot more than I wanted, but we will go for it. There we go. All right. So again, making sure they're even. Bring these down and around. So here I am, and I'm just going to go through. The negative thing on these guys is that sometimes the straps rub your arms, and that's uncomfortable. So there's 3. But going back to the movement, I'm going to inhale, exhale as I'm pressing up. So there's 5, 6. The other thing too is what we want to make sure, are we engaging our abs? 8, 9, 10. Ow. See, yeah, those things, that's one reason why I really don't like the TRX. Engaging your abs. So I didn't set my timer. We'll see 1 minute. Am I pulling up my blueberry, bringing all this in, making it nice and tight in the core? And that way I have a nice rigid body going through this instead of just kind of flapping. One thing that I'll see a lot with push-ups, and maybe even with the TRX too, is, I'm going to kind of turn this way so you can see, is we'll kind of dump our hips and come here. You want to think of a plank when you're doing this. So I'm going to have a nice firm back. So if, again, taking the PVC pipe along my back, I might tuck my butt just a little bit, and then I'm going to pull out the blueberry, inhale, exhale, engage. So similar in that bird dog that we did yesterday, or in those marches, or in the pelvic floor contractions. So again, how everything builds on each other. And I'm going to come here and making sure I'm keeping that firmness in my stomach. So I'm going to do 2 more sets of that of 10 reps, which also tells me again, so remember if we're doing 8 to 10 and I hit 10 on my 3 sets, but the next time I do this, I can actually progress up, which for a TRX would mean I need to make it harder. So I would essentially drop that TRX and make myself lower to the ground. You can also consider this a chest press if we want, but for me, I don't necessarily want to do push-ups off the ground. One, I'm not very good at push-ups. It's not one of my strengths. And if I do want to work on push-ups, I'm going to actually not use a TRX and work on the stability aspect of doing like a full body push-up. So I'm going to finish up my 2 sets and then we will go into the rows. So for the row, the further out you are and the more angled your feet in, the more challenging it's going to be. So for example, if I'm here, that's going to be easier as opposed to if I walk my feet forward and come here, because there's a lot more leverage my body has to pull up. So when I'm doing the row, again, similar to the deadlift, I want to make sure my shoulders are down and back, that I'm not shrugging them up. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to have my palms face each other. You can do palms overhead and pull this way, or we can do palms facing up and do this way. I'm going to do more of a neutral standpoint because on my like accessory mobility days, I'm already doing resistance bands high row, so I just want to mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to come here. And what I'm going to do, shoulders roll down and back. I have a nice firm position in my body too. I'm not kind of like this, and my butt and core are engaged. So I'm just going to come here. 1, 2. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay. 4, 7. So I'm going to do 10, 8, which tells me also that I can move my feet more towards the rack to make it harder. 10. So I'm going to watch the clock. 1 minute rest again. So fairly self-explanatory and simple, I think. Hope. Again, if I'm using more of my biceps, then I need to change up the stimulus and kind of how I'm positioned. You should feel it mostly up in this upper back to mid back when we're doing that type of row. So I'm going to complete my 2 more sets, and then we'll go into a core movement that you can do prenatal, postpartum, or whenever that I really enjoy. The next thing that we're going to do is a high to low twist. You can do this with a resistance band. You can do it with the dumbbell and coming down and up. It's also sometimes called like a wood chop or a chop. Again, different videos, different trainers, different people have different names for kind of the same stuff. So what I'm going to do here is make sure that my front foot is planted. You could do this with knees both bent. You could do this half kneeling. I'm going to do that. Or you could do this in a standing position. It really doesn't matter. And it's up to you and what you're comfortable with. So for this guy, I'm going to have my outside foot firmly planted on from where the fixation point is. I'm going to take a slight tuck of my pelvis. So that way I'm not like ballooning out and coming down. I just want to have a nice tuck. You can have your foot flat or curled. I like it flat. I feel more stable there. So I'm going to come out here. I also have an ab mat underneath my knee because the horse mat stalls in here are really hard and they're not very comfortable on it. So that's okay. So I'm going to come here. I have my inside hand on the handle gripping and then my outside hair coming on top of it. I find, and this may be just my own antidote, that when I have myself or clients with their outside hand on the handle, they tend to pull with that arm as opposed to be pushing through the movement, focusing on core. So we're just going to do 3 sets of 8 for this with that 1 minute rest, so staying within the sets and reps that I have for this phase. And I'm going to feel it essentially coming from the top of my core down to the bottom of the opposite side. Again, working on breath work. So I'm going to come here, set myself up, slight tuck. I'm going to exhale, get it nice and firm. Inhale, exhale as I'm coming down and across. And I really want to focus on more so of my core doing the movement, not my arms pulling the band or pushing the band. I have a slight bend in my elbows, but it's not it's not like a pal off starting press. 6, 2 more, 7. And for extra, I guess, contraction, you can always hold it at that low point if you would want. But yeah, that's essentially your high to low row. So today we went through the TRX push-up / chest press, depending on how you need to modify it. We went through the row and then we went through this. Again, exercise doesn't need to look super fancy. Those are the 3 exercises that I'll do today with the 1 minute rest in between. This is the outfit I have on today, even the fuzzy socks, because I was podcasting, and then, I've just got to be able to feed when I need to. So yeah, we'll go to the next video, which will be day 3. And then, like I said, I'll just repeat these 3 workouts essentially for 3 weeks, and then I'll change the sets and reps and exercises for the next program, or the next part of this program, which is the second phase. And I'll walk you through that when we get there.